You guys, let's make it a reality show, because I think it would be so funny to actually have people handed the truth, and then I just would look at them and go, and you're going to do what about that?
Yeah.
And I would find that to be such a
No
rush.
offense to Sam, but why would you become a politician?
Yeah, you look like such a nice, good-looking man there with all your buttons in
You're
order.
too nice of a person.
Thank you. You know, I get that question asked a lot, but you know,
You are the voice of reason.
You know what? I was getting ready to retire from my business, and we talked about all those reasons. You know, our
Yeah.
grandchildren, our children.
You're a patriot. You love this country.
You know, and yeah, my country, my state. You know, where I live in Cumberland County, and you know, it's like it. You know, you're so busy with life. You know how it is. You know, with children and business, and you know, every day, and then you know, you start to slow down. You say, wait a minute, this is smacking me in the face.
Yeah.
This is, I can't. You know, and I've never been one to run from a fight. You know, like to me, this presented a challenge. I said, I have to get involved.
Absolutely.
I have to do something. But, you know, you need to have the
That's
support.
because you have morals, conviction, and, you know,
Well,
little
thank
attributes
you,
like
but
that, you know.
I get that question every day. Why in the world would you want to do this? But it's been, you know, so many times it is rewarding, you know. Like just what you did with the veterans, you know. I hold the veterans in such high esteem because you and I would not be sitting here talking today.
Absolutely not.
If it wasn't be the veterans.
And I've
you know.
traveled all over the world, and I'm
You know.
telling you, and I'm not one of these, and King knows from working with you, I'll say, well, what about this and what about that research? Standing in back sitting right now with a microphone in front of your face, you know, you can get sued for lying. And you may not even win because you have the civil liberties and all them whack jobs. But the bottom line is, I also want you to trust me. Why would I want to come out and tell you something? And the weirdest thing is, it's like the BS meter that goes off. And I've watched, and at some point, as much as I talk, I want to be interviewed because I really want to tell you people, when I did this initiative and King Arthur and I started to tackle this situation with the lack of veterans health care, I'm really going to tell you who helped me, who gave me lip service, the people that really told me it would never be done, told me it would never be done. Frank Lobiondo just gave me caveats because of what had happened to him. He said, you know, I said, I am a lot stronger than maybe I look. I am a lot tougher than maybe you think. And I said, that's something that I'm a very extremely driven and focused person. So that conviction that was in me, I was raised in a small town in Absecon. We were in a God-fearing town. And it was really a good Republican-Democratic kind of nice split. You know, we even had two bars across the street, the Republican and Democrat, the High Point and the Black Cat. And, you know, I really
never
remember.
heard of the Black Cat.
Oh, yeah. I got to take you there, Daddy.
The
We'll
High
throw
Point is
them
the
up.
Republican one?
I think kind of. And the one was like the iron workers and the Democrats are all across the street. But the thing that I remember growing up in Absecon was the VFW, the barbecues, the flag, the parades. I mean, I'm so old, folks, that Santa Claus really did come to my house. And the firemen, God bless them, somebody would dress up and you'd pay a little homage to the fire department.
He doesn't come anymore?
Well, I guess not to my house, probably not, but probably to my grandkids. But I just look at that and I think I really grew up in almost like a Norman Rockwell kind of town. There was the little Main Street, the old AMP, the Five and Dime. And you know what? In our town, there was a couple poor people, but even that, they still worked. You didn't have all this entitlement, and somebody's going to save me from making bad mistakes. I watch people that are on assistance, and I'm just watching them as a female. Why are your nails done? Why is your hair done? You know, pull it back. A more provincial lifestyle. Is your goal to get out of debt? Is your goal to get into a small house, even a trailer? I don't care. If it's yours, there's pride in that. And for some reason, during, I guess, the 90s and with the Barney Frank and Nazi Pelosi to give it away, and oh my gosh, you're prejudiced if you're not allowing somebody to live in a big house that they can't afford. How dare you? No doc loans. Are you insane? You really gave, it was like giving the equivalent of Forrest Gump, all this stuff to manage. When on a good day, these people couldn't find out, you know, a checking account from balancing. Okay, now look at the whole country. From those irresponsible political pandering moves, our country literally took one of the biggest shots to the face. The bleeding is everywhere. Our nation took a bloodbath financially.
You know, you're exactly right. And I was listening to, actually I was reading the other day, and Bob and I talk about this frequently, the difference between a politician.
You're listening to April Kauffman's final broadcast with King Arthur. The day before she was murdered, the guests are Sam Fiocchi and Bob Greco.
Do those right decisions. Make those decisions as an elected official, not as a politician. And that's what we have here. And that's to the point of what I was taking, why we have an overblown government.
The words are governing for political survivorship.
Yeah.
Those are the words.
Well, that's what I'm saying, pandering to
the
the base of, propping somebody up. And I'm sitting here thinking, I wasn't raised in a political household. I mean, for all of you who know me, listen to the show, I was raised by my grandmother and my great-grandmother. And my great-grandmother was old even when I was young. And my grandmother worked for Bell Telephone. She started out as an operator. And by the time she retired, she worked for the operating engineers. She did all the plats, I guess, where all the phone lines go and everything. And in fact, I remember as a child seeing when Resorts International was getting rewired, because it wasn't going to just be a hotel anymore, it was going to be a casino. And it was just interesting to watch. Here was a woman back in the day. She was a major breadwinner.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a Pearl Harbor or World War II survivor. And passed away just before I was born. So she was a widow, and she didn't go on assistance. She got a job.
April, my you don't know me that well, but my father passed away when I was 11. We had a small family business. My mother ran the business. My mother raised the family.
She did a good job with you, Sunshine.
Thank you. and you know what? There was no insurance policies. There was no money. We had debt. We had we even asked, I said, Mom, do we have to leave? Do we have to move? She said, and she was a powerful woman of about 5'0" and 120 pounds, and I feared her all of my life. I should say venerated, because I respected her. All she did was have to look at me, and I, even in my older years, yes, Mom.
Yeah.
But the respect.
And so it should be.
She was the head. She said she took, she ran the business. She raised us. Until we were old enough to take over the business. And it wasn't like, oh, okay, well, there's this big pot of money. There wasn't.
No.
There was debt. So
you know what it's called? It's called opportunity.
Yeah,
America
exactly.
is about opportunity. It's not about a guarantee.
Yep. Opportunity, so many times, as they say, as one door closes, another one opens, so unfortunately things happen like that in your life. But I've always looked at them as opportunity. And so many people don't, as you well know.
Well, I think it's the mindset. And even my daughter, I worked from the time I was 11. My daughter, did too. And it was funny, really, by the time she got to be about 15, my great-grandmother was a seamstress way back in the day. And I have the same habit. I think a lot of women do it when they're shop. You'll see a woman almost like touch the fabric of clothes. And I remember a word, flimsy. So for all of you out there that anybody that knows dressmaking, whatever, she'd go, oh, that feels so flimsy. And it was my great-grandmother's way of saying it felt like crap. So that would go back on the rack, or the fabric, would go back into the holder. And my daughter, that whole concept, I'm telling you, passed down. My daughter, when she would watch me cook and have all my charity things and be in the kitchen, Mother, I'm never cooking. I'm always going to order out. I'm like, really? Okay. Don't say anything. That's an interesting kind of concept. And I'd always be in the yard gardening, working. I love my garden. Yesterday I put down 100 pounds of fertilizer. And kind of like the Democratic Party. I love that. But with that said, now my daughter makes the most amazing meals, sets the most beautiful tables, and her yard is probably the nicest looking one in the whole place where she lives. And it is that osmosis. And it's when you are blessed, and it is a blessing and a responsibility, and those two words are like so symbiotic, a blessing and a responsibility to have a child, that my daughter, I looked at her as an empty jar, and I really wanted to fill her up with the best things, the best memories, the best heart, the best love. And now, if I were to be taken out, I'm telling you, going up to see our Creator, I know I raised my daughter right, with the right American values. She's moral, she's a good person, a hard worker, a patriotic person, and that did not happen by a government program. Mm-hmm. She did not get her values by some kind of system. She got that information from her mother and her father, and she was told that your place in America is about fortitude. It's about trying and triumph, and it's about failure, but it's all about opportunity. And yet when you see certain kids today, they can't, nothing. It's almost like no values, no work ethic. You see the Occupy Wall Street people. I want to do a poll. I really want to see, like, what kind of parents did they come from? What kind of, if they are parents, what kind of parents are they? And what kind of Americans are pooping on cop cars, breaking windows like hoodlums, people that even go to games and flip cars? Shame on you. Shame on you. And yet, that's supposed to be okay. You're expressing yourself. You have the right, this right. No, you don't. You need to get your head out of your tuchus, take a bath, and start to better yourself and integrate yourself to be a productive member of society.
Let's take a phone call before we get our head out of our tuchus.
Get your head out of your tuchus.
39, that's going to be a new song. Head out of your tuchus. 398-1020. Thanks for waiting. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Kenny. This is Chris from Upper Township. I just want to compliment April. I'm one of your husband's, shall we say, superstars.
Okay, yes, I know the term. I know the term. Well, God bless you.
I'm the guy he calls Hollywood.
Oh my goodness! Oh
so
my
in
goodness!
the office,
So
it's
he
always
loves
a
you.
treat to look at all of the Coast Guard events you hold at the house.
Yes, yes.
I am president of the local sportsmen's group down in the Villas.
So you're going to take us
And-
shooting?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I can't
I've
wait!
asked him to.
I'm excited
And
about that.
every meeting, I started off with the salute, and then we have a couple minutes silence. I've got about 300 members, and at least half of them are a veteran of something. So it doesn't go forgotten.
You are amongst good people, sir. That's what I have to tell you. And let me tell you something. Jim and I, this whole thing that we started out with the Coast Guard and taking, in our minions, and the focus that I tried to get paid attention. Admiral Thomas has just been a plethora of information for me. And here's a very powerful woman who, in all her glory, really saw fit to make this program and partner with me so that these young men and women really did feel special at the holidays. And I have to tell you, it's like a drug for me. And I get so excited, and I know we send the limos down to pick them up. And each year, for Christmas and Thanksgiving, they're all a different group. And it's funny, some of them come in, they're a little bit more boisterous, and others are a little quiet. I guess it depends on what week of training they're in and how badly they've been screwed into the ground. But each year, the only thing that is the same is their gratitude, and that these young men and women are such amazing young patriots, and they are going to be shipped all over the world.
Let me interrupt you for a second. And the war on drugs,
yes, sir.
they have the boat crews come in.
Yes,
They
sir.
don't use the regular range.
Nope.
They use mine.
Wow.
Because they come in every 4 to 5 weeks and have to requalify immediately before the next cruise. It interferes with the cadets' training rotations. So
They're using heavier fire, correct? Is that what it is?
Hmm?
They're using heavier fire.
No, they get to use their M16s on rock and roll and the long-barreled shotguns and
Okay.
the M9 pistols.
Wow. Well, I
But,
know.
let me just say that what you did for that family was great.
Thank you. I guess you're talking about the Snow family, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And there again, this is one of my things that, as a community, again, we weren't going to rely on the government to fix it. And I have to thank all of you for stepping up to the plate. Because, again, me having that opportunity and that trust with you to bring an important story for us to have a call of action and to fix it. I'm not saying their situation's going to be perfect, but I think as things progress.
We're still getting donations almost every day, so we always,
Yeah, and that's what I'm
we're
saying.
always
People want to know what to do, and I
Sergeant
think
Snow talking about
it shows. It really shows that we're there. We don't need the government to keep telling us what to do. Get out of my life with
Well,
that.
I'll tell you what. Due to talk radio, I made sure that last year I started a campaign to make sure everybody that needed it knew about the card from the county clerk.
Yes.
And I publicize that every monthly meeting and in the newsletter. Also, I'm old enough to remember Memorial Day in the May Memorial Day back in the 1950s. I remember Eisenhower campaigning. And I remember the Memorial Day Parade in Hackensack, New Jersey, was always held at night. And the various contingents, my father and my grandfather were legionnaires. But at the end of the parade, they always had the 40 and 8.
Well, and
You know what that is?
no, tell
40
us.
and 8 guys were the World War I vets in a
Oh,
make-believe boxcar, which held 40 troops or 8 horses.
wow.
And it was a part of the original 1919 Post-1.
That really was some
Legion.
grassroots stuff.
Yeah, but that was back in the 50s, and just about all those guys, I think, are all gone now.
Yeah, but this
But
is
we
my
don't
thing.
forget.
But the thing is, I'm looking forward to our Memorial Day parade. General Matz is going to come up. Bob Frollo had asked me, could I contact him? They're going to drive up from D.C. I mean, here's a guy who's a 2-star general. He served with Oliver North, Colin Powell, Norman Schwarzkopf. I mean, Eric Shinseki. Trust me, that's how I got into the Pentagon's Officers Club. Let's not be
Oh, I've been
there.
listening
And
to both stations.
and let me tell you something. Thank you for that. But one of the things I will say, you know what? Water seeks its own level, folks. And I think what's happening right now, that for the longest time, you know, we grew up in a culture when you were a policeman and you wore a hat, and the doctor had the coat on. You kind of just wanted to have that blind allegiance and trust. So good, bad, or indifferent, we all find out it's a different world, and now people really need to ask those difficult questions.
1965 changed that blind
Yes.
obedience thing.
I agree. I agree with you on that. So now,
My biggest fear for the military is what's going to happen when the couple of 100,000 vets from Iraq and Afghanistan get the program.
and that's what I had brought up, especially to Ron Johnson, the PTSD TBI initiative, also for the prosthetic devices. I know they're going to start conversations with them about that. And this is what I'm saying to you. Thinking outside of the box, thinking for yourself, and thinking. Just thinking. And like you hit the nail on the head. Here they come. I think we learned a lot of lessons post-Vietnam. I think the veterans today, and I will say for the record, that is the community that I got the most amount of help and encourage and applause from. And I think we can fix it. I know we're going to have to, because the apathy will really breed a catastrophe.
Well, at least this group is a little more active than my age group.
Yes, and
They're
I'm
more willing to join and try to make part of the program theirs.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for your
My
service
pleasure.
to our
Say
nation. I
hello to
can't wait to
Tom.
come shooting with you.
And you're listening to the final broadcast of April Kauffman on the King Arthur Radio Show, hours before she was murdered. So, recapping January 9th, 2018, 68 months from this broadcast. And after a cooperative investigation between the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office and multiple law enforcement agencies, 8 individuals have been charged in connection to the murder of April Kauffman, as well as conspiracy and racketeering, Atlantic County Prosecutor Damon G. Tyner announced. The following individuals have been charged with the following charges. Number 1, James Kauffman, 68, of Linwood, first-degree racketeering, first-degree leader, and murder. Ferdinand Arguello, 61, Petersburg, New Jersey, first-degree leader charge, first-degree murder of April Kauffman, conspiracy to commit murder of James Kauffman, first-degree racketeering. Number 3, Joseph Mulholland, 52, of the Villas, first-degree racketeering. 4, Beverly Arguello, 47, of Summerland Keys, Florida, first-degree racketeering. 5, Glenn Sealer, 37, of Sanford, North Carolina, first-degree racketeering. Number 6, Paul Pagano, 61, of Egg Harbor Township, second-degree racketeering. Number 7, Tabitha Chapman, 35, of Absecon, second-degree racketeering. Number 8, Cheryl Pizza, 36, from Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, second-degree racketeering. James Kauffman and Ferdinand Arguello are charged with murder in connection with the death of April Kauffman, in addition to racketeering related to the illegal distribution of narcotics through Kauffman's former medical practice. This is from the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office, the official press release that I'm reading. Additionally, Fernando Arguello is charged with conspiracy to commit the murder of James Kauffman. On Thursday, May 10th, 2012, at approximately 11:29 a.m., officers from Linwood Police Department responded to a 911 call at a private residence located at 2 Woodstock Drive in Linwood. There was a report of an unconscious, non-responsive female at this location. Upon arrival, responding police and emergency medical services personnel were met by the resident of the home, James M. Kauffman, who reported finding his wife, April Kauffman, 47, deceased inside the second-floor bedroom of their residence. Inside the second-floor master bedroom of the residence, police and emergency medical service personnel discovered April Kauffman unconscious and lying face down on the floor. At 11:45 a.m., April Kauffman was pronounced dead. Atlantic County Medical Examiner Dr. Heido Park was notified and responded to the scene, at which time it was ascertained April Kauffman had sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Through an Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office investigation, it was determined that a long-term alliance between members of the Pagan Outlaw Motorcycle Gang and former Dr. James Kauffman was created for the mutual financial gain through the use of Kauffman's medical practice for illegal drug distribution, which culminated on May 10, 2012, with the murder for hire of April Kauffman. Prior to 2011, James Kauffman and Ferdinand Arguello had a relationship which centered on James Kauffman's medical practice. In the summer of 2011, James Kauffman solicited Fernando Arguello to murder Kauffman's wife, April. This appears to be for numerous reasons, largely centered on April Kauffman's threats of divorce. James Kauffman stated he would sooner kill April than grant the divorce and lose half his empire. As a result of his objection to a favorable divorce settlement, April Kauffman threatened a number of actions to obtain divorce. In addition to her attempt to spend as much money as she could until a divorce was granted, April also threatened to expose the fraudulent and unlawful practices taking place at her husband's medical office. Ultimately, James Kauffman made the decision to kill April Kauffman, and based on information and belief, Kauffman told Arguello that April threatened to expose the illegal oxy distribution network they had established. The illegal drug distribution network was set up in a typical pattern of hierarchy. James Kauffman and Ferdinand Arguello were at the top. James Kauffman would give free scripts to those individuals sent by Ferdinand Arguello. Ferdinand Arguello had at least 2 individuals recruiting for him to obtain the scripts. In turn, those individuals then recruited additional people to receive the oxy scripts. Ferdinand Arguello would receive either a cash payment of $1,000 per script or a predetermined number of pills once the script was filled. If an individual did not have insurance, they were required to pay $100 per visit. Those that would receive the scripts would either resell them or use them. Ferdinand Arguello propositioned a number of individuals to murder April Kauffman. It's supposed to be April Kauffman's friend, by the way. These individuals were all pagans, former pagans, or associated with the pagans. He was unsuccessful for almost a year, and James Kauffman was getting restless when Ferdinand Arguello found Francis Mulholland. Mulholland was the cousin of a pagan associate, Joseph Mulholland, and member of the drug enterprise. It is believed that Francis Mulholland received a ride to the Kauffman residence in the early morning hours of May 10th, 2012. The doors were left open, and Francis Mulholland was given a gun. He went inside, shot April Kauffman twice, killing her, and then left. It is believed there was payment made to both Francis Mulholland and his cousin Joseph Mulholland. It is unknown if the payment was in the form of cash, drugs, or both. Francis Mulholland has stated that he received approximately $20,000 in cash for his role, though his number has been speculated at being higher. The money was picked up on the day of the murder by Ferdinand Arguello's ex-wife, Beverly Arguello, along with additional scripts. The scripts were used to obtain drugs that day, and the money was given to Ferdinand Arguello. Following the murder, the drug enterprise continued for 5 additional years. Those receiving pills did change during that time. However, every person being involved in the drug enterprise was a pagan, former pagan, or an associate of a pagan. The enterprise folded in June of 2017 with the arrest of James Kauffman. On Tuesday, June 13th, 2017, the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office, with the assistance of agents from the FBI and local police agencies, executed a search warrant on both the business and the residential address of Kauffman. Upon executing the search warrant on June 13th, Kauffman displayed a Ruger 9mm handgun. Ultimately, a hostage negotiator was successful in getting Kauffman to surrender to authorities. He was taken into custody at the Psychiatric Intervention Program for monitoring. Kauffman was charged with unlawful possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, and obstruction of the administration of law. On July 31st, 2017, the State Appellate Division upheld Kauffman's pretrial detention following an appeal filed on June 22nd, 2017, after Kauffman was detained on June 19th by Atlantic County Superior Court Judge Bernard DeLaury. So that's just part of what happened, and just pretty mind-blowing here.